I don't know, I guess Amazon here to give you guys the anime review, episode 1 through 14 of basically Sword Online Season 2. This is basically the art of Gun Gale Online art, which is basically what you basically call it the Gun Gale art, if that's basically what you want to really want to call it. So what is this art just basically all about? So, anyways, this arc is basically it's all about the arc of Gun Gale Online, or I will say, AKA Shino, or I will say Asuna Shino, if that's personally, if that's really you really definitely really want to say. If you guys don't know who Shino really actually is, Shino is basically a girl. She has like neon blue hair or something like that. That's what she has and stuff. And she wears like a suit, like a green kind of suit, kind of mixed with kind of black and white and stuff like that. And she has uh, her big rifle gun or something like that, whatever you want to call it. I think it's called her henches or something like that. I think it's called henches or something like that. I do forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. It's basically like her sniper is based on her sniper rifle that she basically that she snipes people with, basically that she what she does and stuff like that. So basically, the first is started basically with the beginning, based on the episode, basically with episode one. It basically starts out with Kinato, where Kinato basically, he's relaxing. He gets to spend time with Asuna and stuff like that, and spend time with Elizabeth and also some the rest of his other friends and stuff like that, and not have to worry about other different things and stuff like that when it comes to VR, MMO, or MMORG, RPG games, whatever you want to call it, or basically that's whatever you want to pursue that you want to, if that's what you want to call it. Particularly, to be honest with you, Kinto got summoned by a guy. I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name now. I forgot about his name. He's a guy who works for the government officials for basically like kind of like video games or something like that, or basically like government official or something like that. Basically, he works basically for the government and stuff like that. And basically, his job is basically to look into the situations, basically what's going on, basically in the real world, and basically also in gaming world also as well too, because gaming can play a manipulation to play into manipulation to basically to cause people to get people killed and basically in real life, and sometimes that can really definitely can happen. I'm not saying is it really actually going to happen right now or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but personally, what I'm definitely saying that, like when somebody basically gives death threats and stuff like that based online, and that person comes to someone's house and they're like, bam, just shoots them and stuff like that. That happens pretty much. I say it's random, but it's not all of the time. But it's random different times and stuff like that. And people definitely do take their gaming very seriously when it comes to Call of Duty or Fortnite or World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 or NASCAR or whatever that maybe is and stuff like that. And sometimes people do have a mentality in their brain that they cannot even control themselves, and they cannot even understand basically what they're doing, because when they basically get so addicted to basically gaming, it's kind of like a drug that you keep taking over and over and over and over again, and you're addicted to it. And once you're addicted to that drug, you really want to personally want to keep on doing it, and you want to keep being more addicted basically to that. Addiction is basically, it's very powerful. It really actually is. It's a very powerful substance to really actually is one of the most powerful things basically in the world to basically be addicted when it comes to anime, manga, movies, video games, or whatever that maybe is, or whatever that maybe is. And people are basically are addicted to those kind of scenarios, basically those kind of scenarios, and basically those kind of different things and stuff like that. And people are definitely are very addicted to it. So Kirito met with the government guy. The government guy was asking Kirito to basically ask for his help to solve a mystery basically in the game, which is basically called which is called a VR MMORPG game, which is basically called Gun Gale Online, which is basically the game that Shino basically plays. Shino's basically plays. I would definitely get into her character here in just a few more minutes or so. I would be talking about her more than often. Anyways, Kinoto, like I said before, he was meeting with a government guy, and so the basically the government guy was asking Kinoto, saying like, Kinoto, hey, I need your help. I need your help to help me solve a mystery and stuff like that. And Kinoto didn't want to because he kind of said like, no, this is not my job, this is not my duty. You guys are the government, you have to do this yourselves. So you have to do this yourselves and stuff like that. And personally, in my own case, if I was basically in Kim Jong's shoes, I would not accept it. I would just personally just say, like, no, I can't do that because that's something I cannot do. Call me a coward or anything like that. I'm not gonna risk my life just because something basically goes on basically into another world that has a crippling society that people want to play or basically to be into a different in the difference and stuff like that. And particularly to be honest, when the government guy was basically talking to Kinoto, he wants them to look into basically this character known as Death Gun. Now, this is very important for people to basically really understand. Death Gun is basically kind of like the guy who is from basically Sword Art Online season one. Basically, in a way, basically of that, he is the main antagonist basically in this arc. He is also a member that came from Laughing Coffin also well too, because Kinoto didn't really did actually know that he came from Laughing Coffin because Kinoto found out and knew that when the government guy told Kinoto and said like he's one of the SEO survivors, that kind of really shocked Kinoto, and there's only one explanation for it that could be lead into a situation that leads into the laughing coffin into the pram of the picture. Basically, when it comes into the story, basically also into the anime, also as well too. So, anyways, Kinoto accepted the job and basically, yeah, basically stuff. He didn't really want to tell his friends or basically tell his girlfriend, basically also, but even though he told also about accepting the job, but he didn't tell him excuse me, he really didn't tell her about the details what he had to do basically in the game, and basically he was basically getting paid. I don't know how much he was getting paid, like probably 3,000. I don't know, or maybe more, triple or something like that. I don't know how much money Kinoto was basically getting paid for it. But anyways, so Kinoto basically dived into the game and basically for the first time. That's basically what he did, and uh, to be honest with you, when Kinoto basically dived into the game, he didn't know how to really actually play the game because even though he basically knows about the game because he definitely knows a really whole lot about it because he has been diving into other MMORPG games or online games or whatever games that he definitely plays because he's very fascinated into games because he's very fascinated basically into that because that's something that he definitely does love and that's something that he does like and stuff like that. So I don't see that it's really basically it's a situation for basically for Kirito to say like yeah I don't want to be involved in basically in that game, but in a way he didn't really have really much of a choice. But was Kinto was basically forced to this? No, I don't think he really wasn't forced to this. I don't think that he really wasn't. I think that this was basically a choice of an opportunity that it was up to him for him to make that opportunity for him to be to be in there to have that chance to basically do it. But even though when money's been offered on the table, offered on the table, offered on the table, would you accept it or would you not? It really depends on the circumstances and stuff like that. Now, also I forgot to mention that I want to mention that when Def Gun was brought into basically into the game, basically into the anime, or it was a anime into the game, or I was definitely will say that that Def Gun pretty much killed basically one of the people, one of the monitors. It's like the monitor, like when you go into the game world and you see like a monitor, like they're doing like news and stuff like that, basically about the game, like updates and stuff like that and stuff. Anyways, but Def Gun took upon himself. He shut off the monitor, and then like the guy pretty much just died. You know, and there's no way that somebody can die just from a gunshot, just like from a monitor right there. And I definitely will explain that and here in a few minutes, how that was all dialogue and stuff like that, and basically and stuff like that. So I want to dive into basically Shino. Shino basically is a character, who basically kind of like a loner, basically as a character that she is. She's kind of like a person that she's kind of rejected, like she doesn't really fit in, and she's been made fun of because the way that she is and what she did. So what did she really actually did? She personally that what she did was basically was that in the post office, basically with her, basically with her mom, basically that she there was a guy who was kind of mentally ill. I mean, very extremely mentally ill, was not right in the head. He was demanding money and stuff like that from the post office and stuff like that. And usually, and to be honest with you, you usually don't see robberies basically in post offices because you usually don't, definitely don't see that because it's very, very rare for somebody to basically to do that. Unless if there's something that's a very good reason or something very extremely viable to really basically do that. Because if you commit a robbery at a post office, that's a federal crime. That's a very extreme federal crime because that's a federal office that pulls the hands off the mail and stuff like that. But anyways, so the guy was like demanding money, and that's what he personally definitely wanted. But then Shino's mother got into the way, basically got into the way. Now, there's one thing before I go to anything further. I would definitely will address there's one particular character that would definitely bring it closer to Shino. That is something that's very, very important. I would definitely would basically get into her here in a few minutes. That is something that's very, very crucial, and I definitely do think that's very extremely important when it comes to the aspect of episode 14. So keep that in mind. You probably know what I'm talking about, but just keep that in mind. But anyways, so the guy was just basically committing the murder. Uh, Basically, he killed basically one of the post office people, but not one particular person. Like I said, her, I would say it's a woman, but I'm not gonna say who she really actually is. But I'm just gonna wait for right there. So just give me a few minutes. Give me a few minutes. But anyways, Shino's mom was basically in the way, and basically he was trying to basically kill Shino's mom. That's what he was basically trying to do. And then Shino came in and kind of like clamped on his hand, kind of like bit his hand, and the guy was trying to get her off her and stuff like that. And then Shino kind of shot the guy a couple of times and basically killed the guy and stuff like that. So in a way is that Shino lived in fear. She lived in fear because of what she did, even though she murdered the guy. Or I would say, in a way, some people might say that she really actually is, or that's the way they kind of viewed basically what she did. And with that ghost of that past, I said many times before back in my reviews, several of my reviews, facing that ghost of the past is like facing your greatest threat, your greatest demon in your life and stuff like that. Even though she did not know how to conquer it, she does not know how to overcome that fear, to overcome that. Can she get stronger? Can she definitely can? Even though when she's escaped from the fear and all the shit that she's basically going through and stuff like that, and you could just tell like where she wants to escape from all that bunch of bullshit and stuff like that, and she just escapes from that, and she wants to personally want to play a game and stuff like that. That's kind of like with me, like forget about the bullshit. Like I don't need all this and stuff like that, and I just really want like watch anime, play my game, and not have to worry, read manga and stuff like that, and not have to worry about what all this bullshit basis going on, stuff like that. That's all it is. There's just nothing but bullshit with the news and stuff like that and stuff like that. All propaganda and stuff like that. I'm not gonna get into that and stuff like that. That's just my opinion. I'm not gonna bring into that. But I want people to basically understand here, basically this is that that's how I feel. That's how I definitely feel. That's how Shino feels. She wants to escape from all that. She doesn't want to be involved with that. She don't want to be involved in all that bullshit. She doesn't want to. She wants to get out of it. That's what she really wants to do. And sometimes those are the exits what we have when we have to play games or listen to music or watch anime, watch movies or read manga or whatever that place we're doing, you know. And that's just that's just the exit we need. We need an exit. I don't need an exit just to have. In personally, in my opinion, I don't need an exit to have myself to basically that I need to read the Bible, pray every day, worship God every single day, and stuff like that. Blah blah blah, and stuff like that. And stuff like that. I do believe in God in a way. I do, but even though I'm considered as myself as a deist, but I kind of like to say it like this. I'd rather be myself. I don't want people to trying to manipulate their feelings based on me, but I'd rather just do do the things the way I feel I want to do. That's the way I feel. That's what way I feel. But if you feel like someone's basically pursuing you, basically doing that, don't let anybody try to do that to you. Don't let anybody try to do that to you. I mean, it's your choice. I mean, your choice and stuff like that. I'm not saying you shouldn't or anything like that, but I'm saying it's up to you. It's your choice. It's up to you. It's your definitely. It's your choice. It's not my choice. It's your choice. It's up to you for you to make that decision for yourself and stuff like that. I chose to make that decision. I chose to basically to ignore that because I want to basically ignore it. I don't want to accept it, but I choose to ignore it because I don't want to. Because that's just how I feel. That's how I feel based on what Shino feels and stuff like that. She doesn't want to be forced into society, and she doesn't want to be forced into any of these situations because she doesn't want to. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her because the way how she feels weak. She feels like she can't gain the strength to live on and stuff like that and stuff. And that's sad. That's very, very sad. It really actually is. It's very, very sad and stuff like that. You know, life is can be cruel. Life can be beautiful. Life can be good and bad. Whatever it maybe is and stuff like that. It can be under those situations. It can be. It definitely can. You know, it's just you know, life is it's not a game. It's really it's not. It's not. Some people may say, "Oh yeah, life is a game" and stuff like that. I think you're delusional. I think you're really just not right in the head, in my opinion. That's what I definitely think. But as I said, for Rashino, it's just trying to trying to find a way to conquer her fear, to conquer, you know, to get that closure in life. And she even said, like, I wish somebody would save me and stuff like that. And you know, even though in a way, she has somebody to save her, but she can only save herself. She cannot depend on others just to save her. And sometimes it's like sometimes she's scattered in the wind. She's scattered, you know, stuff like that. She's like a lonely flower, basically in the flower field, like where she's like she's not accepted by others, and she's being made fun of because of what she did, because of what she did because of based off that. So, anyways, Shino ended up meeting Kinato, and Shino was showing Kinato. Excuse me, Shino was showing Kinato basically the ropes, based on the world, based how the world works, and I mean, it's not excuse me, not the real life world, not real life world, based on how the gaming world works. I beg your pardon, excuse me for that. Um, how the game works basically into basically how like the weapons are more unique stuff like that. One thing I love about the game that's that has a lifesaver just like basically like Star Wars. I wonder we could cover how probably got that from from a a thing from Star Wars. I guess I don't know. I have no idea. That's what I'm definitely thinking and stuff like that. And I definitely do like that idea, and I definitely do because like seeing like lights or you know and stuff like that. You know, it's just really awesome, really awesome to see it. Just really ideas and stuff. But anyways, so they basically they were. going into a tournament, which is called the BOB tournament. I can't remember what it's pronounced. All I do know is basically called BOB. All I do know is basically it's a 30-man royale, like I guess like 30 man versus 30 man, or let's say everybody versus everybody. I guess that's probably what I'd say, something like that. But anyways, that's just uh that's just basically the base of the game. And so Kino and Shino, they basically they work together pretty much to basically help to bring down basically Def Gun. And that's basically what they did. Actually, Kinato basically brought down Def Gun. Pretty much, he basically did. But Shino basically came and basically gave him the help that he needs and stuff like that, and basically stuff like that. And I forgot to mention that for want people to also understand. Kitagaya is a guy who is very obsessive with basically Shino. He's very extremely obsessive. He's very aggressive with the nature that he really actually is and stuff. And the particularly, just to be honest with you, the way that he is basically stuff like that. And one thing I did not like the most basically in regards basically of this anime, that 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 him and his brother did not go to jail. They went to a mental instability or something like that place or something like that, to basically so they can seek psychological help, stuff like that. I think it would have been better off if they went to prison. That's what I definitely think. I feel like that justice was not fully basically served for Kinato and Shino. I don't think it really actually was. But I definitely think justice could have been a lot more served for them. But in a basically in a harsh reality, sometimes that is the case, but sometimes it's really is not. It's basically really it's not. But even though that's just basically what it is, it is what it is. But even though in my eyes, I don't think it really wasn't justice. I don't think it really wasn't, because I don't think that was one of the closures I really wanted to see for basically Kinto and Austin, Kinato and Shino to basically really actually definitely get. But yes, this was definitely was one of the greatest things for basically Shino to close out her final chapter of her life and the end of her story. That basically, as I talked about, the woman I was mentioning about, who happens to be a mother, is she was pregnant with her daughter. Now keep in mind that this woman was working in the post office, and so this is very important for people to basically really understand. And this is also very important that people needs to really understand also well too, because this woman, that when she was working at the post office, that the guy who was robbing the post office pretty much pointed a gun at her and say like, I killed this guy, I'm gonna kill you next, because she didn't really want that to happen. In a way, basis that she made it look like she was not pregnant, but in a way that she really definitely was, because it wasn't really, it didn't really, the anime really didn't show that baby bump or stuff like that. Basically in that, because usually sometimes they would definitely will show that basically anime, but sometimes they would definitely won't. Sometimes they would definitely will not basically do that. In a way, this brought the closure base for Shino to personally what she really actually definitely need, what she needs. Was this the best closure for her? In a way, yes, it definitely was the best closure for her. But I still would argue basically with based on the fact, I definitely do think that the closure of Kitagaya, and also based also his brother, that they just really did not get the justice, really, that not the two brothers, but Shino and Kinato did not get the justice what they deserve. I definitely do think they deserve to be in prison. That's what I definitely do think. Instead of just going taken to a mental hospital, I understand that they're not right ahead. I definitely do understand that. But they really definitely need to go to prison because of what they did and what they did. Because I definitely will say this also well too. If they were to basically get out to the mental institution, they could do this all over again. They could, because they're kind of like kind of guy is basically kind of a representative to basically as his brother to laugh and cough basically in a way, but he inspires his, but he's basically is basically a instrument basically as for a tool to do his dirty work, to do his dirty work and stuff like that. And so that's that's where it goes on for here and stuff like that. But he looks up to his brother as a superhero, like Superman, Batman, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Because he saw him like he's a hero because what he did, because what he did. Because even though his brother didn't really understand, did not understand the delusions or the situations that his brother what he did, because he murdered people, because he was part of a guild called the Laughing Coffin, because that's what he was a part of and stuff like that. But yeah, even though I definitely will say the anime, the first half of the season, it is good, but as I said, I would still argue that justice was not served in the right for Kinato and Shino. That's just my opinion. That's what I definitely think. I have to give it a 9 out of 10. It's a good high rating for me for the first half of this anime. But like I said before, I still think that justice was not served. I don't think the writing was definitely poor or anything like that. I still argue basically with that. That's basically what I'm saying. That's just my opinion, but yeah. Anyways, that's it for this anime review. Tell me what you guys think. Do you guys like this anime? You guys like this first half of this anime? What's your guys' overall thoughts about kind of guy out basically being inspired by his brother? What is your guys' overall thoughts? Basically, a best girl, basically to me, Shino, one of my favorites, basically in this anime. And what are you guys' next opinions about the next arc basically coming on through? And so yeah, from here on out. But yeah, anyways, it's not so I'll see you guys later. Take care. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe. Please consider subscribing. Please like one, give me a thumbs up or give me a thumbs down. And please leave a comment below. And so, love you guys. Take care. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys later. Take care.